But tonight at 8 o'clock, North Carolina on your television against Minnesota, a real live functional opponent, we think. Bryn Renner, who has played in many a big game for the Tar Heels, former quarterback, man about town. He joins us now. You're going to be a broadcaster, Bryn? Are you real? Are you serious?
You know, Adam, first of all, it's great to hear your voice and great to be on. It feels like it's been forever, but I'm excited for this opportunity. I get to join the media for the first time.
Yeah, nobody's excited to do this. All right, first of all, you explored coaching. That I can't. You're too nice a human being to make that your vocab. It had to be. A, it had to be hard, and B, it had to be tough to give up because I know once it's in your blood. Then it's just hard. But welcome to our side. Now you can give out hot takes and make people mad.
That's right. I get to ask the tough questions on why you threw 4 interceptions or why you didn't see the 3 technique in your lap in the pocket. So I'm excited. Like you said, I enjoyed coaching. My dad was a high school football coach for 30 years. So was my grandfather. And I enjoyed coaching the kids and giving back to the great coaching that I had. But as you know, the landscape of college football has changed, and it kind of out of control. And I'm happy with what I'm doing now, so it's great.
Yeah, maybe high school coaching is the real coaching, actual coaching to do. All right, let's talk about this Tar Heels team. You have been, in situations where there were 2 quarterbacks, and I remember a time where not only did you have 2 quarterbacks, you had 2 outstanding quarterbacks when you were in your career at UNC. I don't know. We honestly do not know what North Carolina has at quarterback. So Max Johnson, I'm assuming, will start, even though Mac Brown hasn't said who it's going to be. And he says he's going to play 2. And we're going to see Connor Harrell. We saw him in the bowl game. Your thoughts on that position for UNC?
Yeah, I think, Adam, you hit the nail on the head. I've been in every single situation that these 2 young men are going to go through. I sat behind TJ for 2 seasons and was on the precipice of playing before the LSU game. And along with that, Marquise and I, my senior year, split time. And so I've been cut, I've been benched, I've thrown interceptions, I've thrown touchdowns. So I know what these 2 young men are going to go through throughout the season. So to answer your question, I think it's going to be an interesting time to see who emerges as the leader. I think their skill sets are completely different, right? Like Connor is an athletic kid that can run the zone read and get you yards with his legs. And then Max is more of a pocket passer who has experience in the SEC. I'm honestly excited to see who emerges with their opportunity. And so I think as a UNC fan and a guy that's going to be calling the games this year, I'm optimistic about this team because a lot of guys have to step up and make plays. And the world of college football, you never know who that's going to be.
No, you don't. And it's what made me so angry when I voted in the AP poll a long time ago, but I was an AP poll voter for 2 years. And to have to come up with a preseason top 25, I'm like, we haven't seen any of these teams play. Everything is a guess. Why would you make people do this? But I guess, who cares? It's just an exercise in futility anyway. And people didn't like the way I did it, and that's fine. I gave up on it because I could barely watch enough games that I have to watch. I can't watch San Diego State play at midnight as well. I got things to do. Bryn Renner is joining us here on the Adam Gold Show, former Tar Heel quarterback, now part of the UNC broadcast team with Jones Angell and others. You mentioned different styles because of the different skill sets of the 2 quarterbacks. Can you have 2 different offenses, or does one need to be more of a change of pace than the other?
I think it's a little bit of both, right? I think you need to do what the quarterback does well. I think that's what the great offensive coordinators do. And I think I've said this before to you. The offensive coordinator relationship and quarterback relationships is more important than probably any relationship in the building because they're tasked with scoring points. And I think it's a little bit of both. I think you have to call plays that kid feels comfortable with. And that's through practice. That's asking the quarterback what he feels comfortable with. And I coached quarterbacks at FIU when Butch was there, and we would have meetings on Friday. And if I didn't like a play or the quarterback didn't like a play, it was out of the book. And I think that's the biggest thing that I want to see from this Tar Heel team is, okay, let's run plays that Max, let's have these certain plays that Max does well. And on the back burner or whoever, if Connor's starting, let's have those plays and what he does well. But there's going to be two different offenses because they're two different styles of players. And I think that's what's exciting for the fan base. Like you said, it's like playing poker. We have no idea what we have in the tank because there's no preseason games. And so that's what's crazy about college football. I think that's why the anticipation has been so big this season.
Yeah, that's North Carolina is like the ultimate Texas Hold'em. We don't know what the cards facing down have to offer. One thing we do know is that Omarion Hampton is one of the best running backs in the country. I think the AP named him preseason first team All-America. I mean, he is an absolute. I mean, when you look at him, you just marvel at the size and the strength. I mean, he is put together. What you would certainly like to have somebody like this in the backfield to hand it to. Is there there's no benefit, difference for him? Is there in which offense he's in?
I think getting him the ball first and foremost is the number one job of Chip this year. Chip Lindsey, offensive coordinator. I think that's going to be the number one is make sure that Omarion gets his touches. And if you remember, Giovanni Bernard was probably the best back that before Omarion, and we had a lot of great backs. But Gio was the same way. We wanted to get him the ball in space so he could go be Gio. And I think that's what you have to do with Omarion. We have to make sure that there's opportunities that we can get him the ball out of the backfield if they load the box with 8 guys in there. And then also find ways in the screen game to get him to get him his touches, and that's going to allow Max to be a little bit freer on those 3rd and 6s and 3rd and 8s that he has to convert. And when you watch the season last year, Drake and Omarion worked hand in hand. Omarion got his touches, and Drake was able to use his legs. And people kind of forget that Drake rushed for 600 yards and was the second leading rusher on the team. So you're also losing the impact of that. And so it's going to be one of those years where you got to get Omarion the ball, and along with that, kind of protect Max in some situations so he's able to convert those 3rd downs.
Bryn Renner is joining us here on the Adam Gold Show, former Tar Heel quarterback, now part of the broadcast crew on the radio. By the way, I hope you ask questions better than I asked the last one. But you bring up Giovanni Bernard, and that was one of those electric players. And North Carolina has had a litany of them on the offensive side of the ball for the last decade. My biggest question mark going into this season isn't replacing Drake May or Tez Walker or anybody on offense. It's, can Carolina play defense at a level that is conducive to winning a lot of games? I can't remember. Bryn, I think you probably played on the last UNC team with a legitimately good defense. I can't recall the last good defensive team at UNC.
Yeah, and I would say that we. Yeah, I would probably say that defense needs to be a priority this year because there's a lot of experience over there. Des Evans is defensive end that was a 5-star kid coming out. Has been decently productive, but I think he needs to have a big year. And our defensive line, I mean, you mentioned it. I played with a really good defensive line and a defense that we would only have to score 21 points. So I think that's going to be an emphasis this year as well. And Jeff Collins coming in and kind of bringing a renewed energy to the program is going to be really good with his head coaching experience, but also his ability to call plays defensively is going to be key for the kids. And if you look at what everyone's saying in the media and the kids are saying, is they feel free to be able to kind of go play in his system. So I honestly am looking forward to it, Adam. I am. I'm looking forward to a defense that's going to be flying around and hopefully we can kind of grind out wins in this season because, last year and the last couple of years, we relied on Sam and Drake to kind of carry the torch.
There's no question. It's a bright lights game as well tonight. Just before I let you go, Bryn Renner, former UNC quarterback, now part of the broadcast crew. Some years start with one of those FCS games. State, and I'm not knocking it. State starting with one, Wake, Duke, both starting with one. This is arguably the most difficult non-conference game on North Carolina's schedule. I mentioned JMU won't be easy because JMU's got great pedigree now too. But How do you like starting the season with a game like this?
I enjoy it, and from a player's perspective, I think we enjoy it. We started always with, I think, exception of 1 year, we started with South Carolina pretty much every year, and you kind of see where you stack up.
Right.
It's an exciting time. I think, we as players, we enjoy it. We as coaches enjoy it, and as fans, we want to see play really good competition. Like I said, it's different in the NFL. When I was in there, we had 4 preseason games to get ready, and you kind of knew where you stood. But right now, we're going to kick this thing off, and it's against a really good Minnesota team that's well coached, and I'm fired up to see it. And I think as a player, you really embrace this opportunity, especially on the road.
All right, final. This is a statement. You can do whatever you want with this. Do you think you could name all 17 ACC schools?
I could. You want me to do it?
Sure.
Well, I think and this is what's crazy about the ACC. When I grew up, I was watching the ACC on Wednesday night basketball, and I could I miss Maryland being in the conference as well. But I think with the additions of SMU and Cal, it provides a different West Coast atmosphere. But it's going to be interesting to see, and I like to see the competition increase. And I think that's the biggest thing is this slate of games. There's 21 games today, and then there's going to be a ton of games on Saturday that I'm really excited to watch across the board. So I like to see the good teams play the good teams, and I know you do too. So I'm fired up for this season. I
am so glad you're going to be part of this Tar Heel season, so now I'm going to bug the living blank out of you. Bryn Renner, I appreciate your time, man. It's good to talk to you. I'll talk to you very soon.
Anytime, Adam. Anytime. You're the best.
All right, man. I'll talk to you later. Bryn Renner,
all right.
Former North Carolina quarterback.